Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Sandhagen versus Font. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the card. So in our first fight, we have in the flyweight division, Ode Osbourne versus Azul Almabayev. And how I feel about this one right here is I'm going low confidence, Azul Almabayev. I just don't feel like the track record is necessarily established. And Ode Osbourne, it's not like he's an over-the-hill fighter. He's a solid talent as well. He's only like 31 or 30-something, something like that. He's not late 30s, so he's like early 30s. So he's in a good position. Azul Almabayev is just sitting outside his 30, like at 29. So both guys are in good age. I just think the grappling concerns of Osbourne have not truly been addressed since the Brian Kelleher fight where he got tapped out real quick. He's been able to fight fighters that didn't really have that approach to fighting him. And I think Azul Almabayev will be able to test that. And I think it'll be a test that Osbourne will fail. But obviously, I'm going low confidence here because I'm not too necessarily high or low on either guy here. But going Azul Almabayev, I think he should be able to keep himself in the fight with his striking. It's not as technical as Osbourne, but he have enough power, to gain the respect of Osbourne to set up his takedowns. Then I think he not dominates, but I think he can wear down Osbourne. And as Osbourne starts to fade from the grappling and the wrestling pace, I think he can tap him out in the second round. So in this one, I have Azul Almabayev via second round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the featherweight division, we got Sean Woodson versus Dennis Bazooka. And how I feel about this one right here is I'm going Dennis Bazooka. I think low confidence here to beat Sean Woodson. I like Sean Woodson's experience. And he is a more technical striker. But I think Dennis Bazooka training with the Longo team, training with Aljo, training with Frivola, and training with all these killers. And I think he's gonna be able to beat Woodson. I think he's gonna be able to wear down Woodson with the wrestling. And unlike Terrence McKinney, I think Dennis Bazooka is gonna be able to put on that pace for 3 rounds. And I think he's gonna be able to wear down Sean Woodson and then tap him out in the 3rd round. I think it's gonna be a good foot fight. But ultimately, I think Bazooka's in the right. He's around the right people. He's been training with Aldo through all these major cancers. Aldo's been on a tear. Training, I forgot to say Merab Dvalishvili. I'm saying Frivola, but he's training with Aljo and Dvalishvili. That's the names I should be mentioned. So yeah, he's been training with some killers. I think it's gonna rub off on him, and I think he'll come out there, make a statement. Like it's been long overdue. He's gonna come to the UFC and he's gonna make a splash. So I think he wears him out, then taps him out 3rd round. So in this one, I have Dennis Bazooka via 3rd round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the flyweight division, we got Jake Hadley versus Cody Durden. And how I feel about this one right here is I'm going high confidence, Jake Hadley to beat Cody Durden. I think Cody Durden's wrestling can be a big strength for him, but I just feel like he lacks the other parts. The other parts are sold separately and he don't have the money to afford them. I think he can go for some takedowns. He can have some decent control time. He could try to load up with some big power and whatnot. But nonetheless, I think Hadley is a cleaner striker and will exploit him trying to load up on big shots. But still not landing the big shots clean, but then probably going for takedowns. But all I see is maybe a good start for Cody Durden, but Hadley just been overall the more technical and overall the better fighter. And again, Durden not having all the parts that he needs to beat Hadley. Like he could have the takedowns and the wrestling, but he lacks the control, lacks the ground and pound, and the submission threat. I think Hadley's going to fully exploit that. And also Durden has been submitted, I think 4 times. I think that's all the losses that came by submission. And Hadley's a very underrated, solid grappler. So I think he's going to just wear down Durden. Durden's going to have a good start, but Hadley's going to make him work throughout, wear him down, and then tap him out 2nd round. So in this one, I have Jake Hadley via 2nd round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the featherweight division, we got Billy Quarantillo versus Damon Jackson. And how I feel about this one right here is I'm going average confidence, Billy Quarantillo to beat Damon Jackson. So I'm going Billy Q, average confidence to beat Damon Jackson. I think these guys match up pretty well, but I think overall Billy Quarantillo is the better overall fighter. I just don't feel like Damon Jackson presents the style that's going to beat Billy Quarantillo. Not really much of a striker on Damon Jackson's side. I think Billy Quarantillo is clearly the better striker, but we'll see. I think he can push a better pace. And I think he can address the grappling of Damon Jackson. I think Damon Jackson can have some decent success with the grappling, but Billy Quarantillo is a guy that, unless you break him or, I don't know, unless you break him or just so much better than him, which Damon Jackson don't have the ability to break him, and I definitely don't feel skill-wise he so much exceeds him. Well, I don't think he exceeds him at all. I think Quarantillo's the better fighter, but yeah, it's like Cortillo, like one of his staples of his style or his character is that he's a guy that gets tougher as fight goes on. As it gets tougher, he gets tougher. He's one of those guys you got to put their lights out, or you just got to just flat out just be that much better than him. So unless you finishing him or just that much better than him, Billy Cortillo is probably going to win. So I'm going Billy Cortillo here. I think Damon Jackson has some decent success with his jiu-jitsu, but I think Cortillo, again, I feel he can address it. And I feel like Billy Cortillo can slowly, start to pick up the pace, and Damon Jackson's pace is going to slowly dip off. Ultimately, I think it'll be a competitive fight early, but I think Billy Cortillo is going to be able to outpace and ultimately break Damon Jackson and TKO him in the third round. So in this one, I have Billy Cortillo via third round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the welterweight division, we got Jeremiah Wells versus Carlston Harris. And how I feel about this one right here is I'm going average confidence Carlston Harris to beat Jeremiah Wells. I feel Carlston Harris is the more technical and better overall fighter in my honest opinion. I feel like Jeremiah Wells, he kind of gets by on just landing a big shot, being sloppy on the feet, just being aggressive, and it's been getting him through. And Carlston Harris is a little bit wonky himself, but he's longer, he's more technical, and I think he's the better striker. I think he's the better grappler. And I think he has, given that the fact that he has that height and that length, I think he'll be able to exploit that against Wells, have Wells reaching for shots and be able to catch him and counter him and crack him with big shots, coming and going, and force Jeremiah Wells to, panic wrestle, kind of like how he did against Matthew Semelsberger. But unlike Matthew Semelsberger, he's going in with a legit grappling threat who's better at grappling than him, especially when he's coming in there panicking and reaching. And ultimately, I think Carlston Harris is going to be able to tee off on him, again, catch him coming and going, force him to make poor shots and, desperado moves, going for takedowns, reaching for takedowns. And I think Carlston Harris taps him out second round. So in this one, I have Carlston Harris via second round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, we got Ronnie Barcelos versus Kyler Phillips. And how I feel about this one right here is I'm going average confidence Kyler Phillips to beat Ronnie Barcelos. I think Ronnie Barcelos is a solid fighter, but he's on the downtrend. And also, I like the style matchup for Kyler Phillips. I think Kyler Phillips is a very good fighter, and I think he can mix it up. And when I look at really the most consistent track record of beating Ronnie Barcelos, is a fighter that's, pretty well-rounded, pretty experienced, and they can put up a good pace and maintain that pace. And I think Kyler Phillips can do that. I think he can mix it up well, and I think he can set a good pace. And Barcelos does have a very bad tendency, to watch his opponents, and especially when they're doing a lot of output out there, he has a tendency to watch him. I think Kyler Phillips could, put him in the matrix, throw a lot of value, and be very elusive, and also mixing the takedown. So Barcelos is going to be responding to the, waiting and responding on the striking, waiting and responding on the grappling. And I think ultimately Kyler Phillips is just going to be able to outwork him and set a pace. And Barcelos is going to, by tendency, be forced to kind of follow that pace and be forced on the responsive. And Phillips is not going to really give him too many chances to have clean responses. And it's ultimately just outwork Barcelos to a decision victory. So in this one, I have Kyler Phillips via decision. Now to our main card. So in our first fight on the main card, we have in the lightweight division, we got Ignacio Baja Mendez versus Ludovic Klein. And how I feel about this one right here is I'm going average confidence Ignacio Baja Mendez to beat Ludovic Klein. I think Klein has an issue with length, and I think Baja Mendez will present that to him. Also, it helps that Jai Herbert, he just coming off a poor performance against Jai Herbert, in which I feel he should have lost, but I forget what happened. I'm not even going to Google it. I know it ended like a no contest or some weird draw or something. But he was clearly losing, on the way to losing, and got away with one. Going away with Ignacio Baja Mendez is another guy who, probably can say, oh, he could grapple him. And he should have been able to grapple Jai Herbert, but he wasn't. I think it's going to end up being the same thing. I think Klein, as far as wrestling, I think he's a better defensive wrestler, defending takedowns than he is offensive with it. And also, it's not like he has great control or great ground and pound or any submission skills to it. So at most, it'll be a case of he using the wrestling to try to hold on for dear life or to throw off the pacing of Baja Mendez, or, it's more so going to be a tool to keep you in the fight more so than an actual offensive tool to deal any damage or actually win the fight. It kind of to keep him in the fight, but nothing more. And I think Baja Mendez is going to be able to see that and eventually maybe get held to maybe 2 takedowns or less. Klein will be. And Ignacio Baja Mendez will be the longer, lankier striker, the more technical striker, and dealing with a guy who struggles with length. Is he struggled against Jai Herbert? Is he struggled against Mike Trezano? And then I think Ignacio Baja Mendez might very well be the best striker he's ever fought. And I think Ignacio Baja Mendez just stuffs the takedowns for the most part, addresses the wrestling, and puts on a striking clinic and beats him in a decision victory. So in this one, I have Ignacio Baja Mendez via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the light heavyweight division, we have Tanner Boser versus Alexa Kimura. And really, this is a coin flip. This is like, just pick one fighter. Dog or pass. Alexa Kimura, he's the dog, going with him here. And I feel Boser coming down the light heavyweight, I feel like his chin has gone a bit. He's not as durable. This is not his truer weight class. I feel like Alexa Kimura, despite not being as active and whatnot, I feel like this being his truer weight class, or the weight class he has fought, pretty much his whole career, I think he'll be able to, set and push a pace better, hold up better in his weight class. Whereas Tanner Boser, we don't know how he's going to hold up, going rounds, hold up, if the fight's tough. I feel like Alexa Kimura is going to be the one to be able to dig deep and, push a better pace. Because this, the weight class he's familiar with versus the guy that's trying to cut down to his weight class and trying to adjust his weight class. It's going to be a little bit rough trying to dig deep at this weight class. So in a dog or pass, 50-50 fight, that's going to probably be a tough, gritty way no matter who goes it. I feel like Kimura could, again, push and maintain a better pace. And also, I feel like if any guy's going to be able to exploit the weakness of wrestling in either guy, I feel like it's going to be Alexa Kimura. Both guys seem to have a weakness in that area, but Tanner Boser seems to be extremely weak in that area and seems to be a path to beat him that's been pretty consistent and hasn't really shown much improvement in that area. So I feel like Alexa Kimura can make the better adjustments in the wrestling and be the one who looks to implement the wrestling offensively, whereas Boser probably not going to look to go for very many takedowns at all. And in a very close fight, I'm going to go Alexa Kimura to win a very close decision over Tanner Boser. So in this one, I have Alexa Kimura via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the featherweight division, we got Gavin Tucker versus Diego Lopez. And how I feel about this one right here is I'm going average confidence Diego Lopez. So Diego Lopez is like tall about like 4 or 5 inches. Then got a reach advantage of like 4 or 5 inches. He's like not 10 years younger. It's like, it might well be 10 years. Matter of fact, it probably is 10 years. But it's a lot. He's a lot of years younger. That's all I'm saying. I'm not even going to need to get all into the exact thing. But definitely a lot taller. Definitely a lot longer. And definitely a lot younger. Gavin Tucker is like 5'6". And he's 37 years old. Yes, he's probably the more technical fighter overall. But he's been inactive. Every time he loses, he takes 2 to 3 years off. And he's not the most durable guy either. I think Diego Lopez is the more durable guy. I think he's the more dangerous guy at this point. And I think Gavin Tucker can look good for a little bit. But ultimately, I think Diego Lopez is going to be able to catch him and then submit him. And I think it's going to happen in the second round. So I think Gavin Tucker can start off to a good start. But the moment it's not looking good for him, he gets caught, put in a bad position, I think it's going to be over for him. I think it's like a club and sub. And I think it happens in the second round. So in this one, I have Diego Lopez via second round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the light heavyweight division, we got Dustin Jacoby versus Kennedy Ikechukwu. And how I feel about this one right here is I'm going low confidence Kennedy Ikechukwu to beat Dustin Jacoby. I just feel like, low confidence. I just don't feel like it's a clear path to victory for Ikechukwu. But he's the younger fighter. He's the fighter, with the frame and the size and the youth. And he's coming in here like this is a fight he should win. And he's showing improvements in the wrestling. That's probably the biggest thing. More than anything, not his striking, not this, not that. Not him being an athlete, having the perfect build or whatever you want to say about him. That helps for sure. But I think maybe the biggest thing is the fact that he is showing those wrinkles in his wrestling. And I think he can implement a Neil Magny type approach and become a Neil Magny type fighter. And going with Dustin Jacoby, who does have a win over Dao Jung, who destroyed him, and such, etc. I'm getting off topic. But yeah, I think Dustin Jacoby is kind of on the downtrend a little bit. Both his last fights were very close. So again, that's why it's low confidence. But yeah, let's get to the point of why I think Ikechukwu is going to win. Low confidence for sure. But I think Ikechukwu is going to be able to look to throw some punches, get in on the inside, look to latch up, and probably try to take the back and lean over and drape himself over Jacoby, and just really limit the striking offense and pile up the control time, whether it be cage control or actually be able to work to a actual takedown and have actual top control. But that's what I think Ikechukwu is going to do. He's going to look to just smother Jacoby and not really allow him to have consistent offense. And let's look to tie him up, step on toes, knee him in the body, knee him in the thigh, and then look to try to work to take his back and really just keep Jacoby defending and grappling. And in the meanwhile, get some little flurries to get it in, and then look to hold on to Jacoby, not allow him to get any offense back. And ground out a very close decision victory over Dustin Jacoby. So in this one, I have Kennedy Ikechukwu via decision. Now to our next fight we have in our co-main event In the women's strawweight division, we got Jessica Andrade versus Tatiana Suarez. And how I feel about this one right here is I'm going high confidence Tatiana Suarez to beat Jessica Andrade. I think Jessica Andrade is still a beast, but I don't know, she's been on the downtrend a little bit. Tatiana Suarez kind of came back, looked a little bit rusty in the return, but I think in this fight she's gonna flourish. And I think she'll be able to exploit the grappling of Andrade and exploit the over aggression on the feet, coming in, swinging these big hooks and leaving herself off balance. I think Suarez is going to be a time to hook, duck under, drag her to the mat, really smother her and tap her out in the first round. So I think she's going to be exploit the aggression of Andrade and also take advantage of the fact that Andrade's on a little downtrend. And also I think Suarez is going to come off of that last performance, feeling like, yeah, I did not look my best, and really come in motivated and look the best she's looked in years. Well, she hasn't really fought, so I don't know about the best she looked in years, but definitely had one of the better performances in her career. And I think she taps out Andrade in the first round, again, exploiting the hook, ducking under, catching her off balance, putting her on the mat, and, showing that elite wrestling skills, being heavy on top, and then from there start to work with the jiu-jitsu, probably work some ground and pound as well, wear her down, and then tap her out first round. So in this one, I have Tatiana Suarez via first round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the heavyweight. We have in our main event a catchweight bout at 140. I thought this was at bantamweight. Why is that 140? We'll see. It's a catchweight bout at 140. It's not no bantamweight. It's not no heavyweight fight. It's not even a bantamweight fight. It's a catchweight at 140. Corey Sandhagen versus Rob Font. But one thing we know for sure, this is our main event. And now I'm gonna jinx is gonna end up being this fight going to end up falling through. It's going to be another main event. But anyway, how I feel about this one right here is I'm going high confidence Corey Sandhagen to beat Rob Font. I feel Rob Font's a solid fighter, his game and all, but I feel like Corey Sandhagen is a very experienced fighter, just nearly as experienced as Rob Font, with like four or six fights shy of having the same amount of fights. So, similar experience for some high level fights for an interim title, for Peter Dians, for the Aljamain Sterlings, beat the Marlon Moraes and all that stuff. So both of these guys are very experienced and both of these guys are very elite. But I think Corey Sandhagen will be the more complete fighter. I think he'll do a better job of mixing in the grappling. He'll be the longer, lankier fighter, the more youthful fighter, the younger, longer, lankier, overall better fighter here. I think Rob Font will have I don't think Rob Font will have anything better. I think he'll have a better jab. He'll maybe be a little bit faster, but other than that, I think Corey Sandhagen will be the better transitional grappler. He'll blend the arts better. He'll be more crafty, have more tools. He'll have the punches, he'll have the knees, he'll have the kicks, the flying knees, the spinning back kicks, the front kicks, the leg kicks. He'll have much more to his arsenal, and he'll mix it up better and ultimately be able to corral and beat Rob Font. And also he'll have that upside. If the fight is not going his way in one particular area, he'll be able to mix it up. Where I feel like Rob Font, he might have limited success mixing in the takedowns, but he won't be able to have consistent success mixing the takedowns. Where I feel like Corey Sandhagen will be able to. Also, given the fact that Rob Font loves the jab so much, and loves to box so much, and loves to work behind the jab so much, I think Corey Sandhagen will be able to exploit that with takedowns, exploit that with inside leg kicks, outside leg kicks, and really be able to take away the jab, similar to how Volkanovski does it, but also with the benefit of being that tall and he guy that Corey Sandhagen is, having that frame, and then maybe use the same tools, and also be able to use the spinning back kick to intercept him coming in with the jab. So he'll have a lot of different tools to intercept the jab coming in, and also be able to mix in the takedowns. And again, if the fight does need to, or he feels the need to mix it, like that he needs to mix something up, he can mix it up. Whereas again, I don't feel like Rob Font will have the same leisure, the same luxury to be able to mix the fight up if it's not going his way in one particular area. But nonetheless, this is a very competitive fight, but I think Corey Sandhagen will be able to ultimately be the guy to better dictate the pace of this fight and where this fight takes place and how it takes place, and get his hand raised in a decision victory over Rob Font. So in this one, I have Corey Sandhagen via decision. And that concludes my fight predictions for the full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Sandhagen versus Font. And as always, thanks for watching.